Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Leland, for the introduction. My name is Jorge Castro. I work as an Agile coach, DevOps program manager. I'm from Peru. I'm Peruvian. Um, and well, first, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me here. So I'm really happy to share with you and learn from you. That's really nice. I took some. I was part of some events from your community. So I think Agile Austin, which are really nice events, So I really enjoy it. So I hope you can find my talk interesting to you, okay, and useful, of course. Okay, my today topic is OKR governance, designing and setting an outcome-based planning business approach app for large enterprises. In basically my experience, my entire experience is working at large enterprises, companies like Verizon, like TCS, for example, right? So that is my experience. That is what I'm going to share with you. Okay. Well, again, my contact information, as I said, my name is Jorge Castro. I work as a DevOps program manager, test manager, and Agile coach. Here you can see my contact information. It would be awesome if you can add me to your LinkedIn accounts. That would be great because I strongly believe in sharing is caring. So if you add me, we can maybe later we can have a conversation about this talk, or maybe another topic that you like about OKRs, about DevOps, about Agile coaching, whatever. If I can help you, that would be awesome. So please keep in touch. That would be great.
And Jorge, I'll post that information in the meetup in the comments, your contact info, so others can find it easily.
Great, thank you, Leland. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay, just a little introduction. This paper, this work, this conversation is a summary of our experiences about building agile ways of working and outcome-based planning for large enterprises, as I said, right? Through designing, implementing, and setting objectives, key results, OKRs, governance, app, and value and data business-oriented mindset. As I said, what you are going to see right now in some minutes is basically my experience about, okay, if you have this challenge, which is how you can build this outcome-based planning mindset at large enterprise, right? So imagine a company like, for example, like Verizon, right? That has business in Latin America, business in US, in Europe, and in Asia as well. And you have a lot of teams working together, right? Teams from different countries. So how you can implement or how you can build a kind of outcome-based planning mindset approach there. That's the idea of this conversation, right? I'm going to share those experiences about it. Okay. Okay. Let's start with the story. Okay. Let's start with the story. Maybe some of you know this story, but I'm going to share it with all of you. Okay. The story is like this, right? One day there were three stonecutters, three stonecutters. They were working, in a city. They were working, cutting stones. that they do. A child was around there, was jumping around. A child was walking around, a boy, and this boy asked one stonecutter ask this question, right? What you are doing? And the first stonecutter says, I'm doing my job. I'm doing, I'm cutting rocks. That is my job. I'm doing my job. Okay, great. The boy asked the second stonecutter about it. What you are doing? The second one said something like this. I'm doing the best job on the world, right? I'm doing the best job. This stone cutting job is the best. I'm doing the best job on the world. Okay, great. And finally, the boy, asked the third stonecutter, right, what you're doing. And he says something different. He says, I am building the beautiful house on the world, made of stone, of course, right? So the idea of this little story is about, the points of view of our workers, or of our team members, right? In the first case, you have a person doing his job, right? You know, doing, if he's a developer, I'm doing codes, I'm coding thing. If you're a tester, I'm testing thing, right? That's the first one. The second one is I'm doing the best job, right? I don't care about my environment. If I am a developer, I am doing the best coding possible, right? If I'm a tester, I'm doing the best testing possible. That's the second one. It's something good, right? Because you are doing your best and you want to be perfect in your job. That's okay. But the third one, the third stone cutter says, I am building a house. I mean, I am building a beautiful house of stone. You know, so in the third case, that worker, that team member, that stone cutter was thinking not only in the job, he was thinking on the system thinking, right? He was thinking on the value, right? In the client experiences, right? He was thinking on, okay, I'm doing this because there's an outcome there. I'm doing this because of, at the end, we are building a house, you know, that is going to being used for people, you know, and so forth. So that's the idea of OKRs. If you think about OKRs, and if you want to build an outcome-based planning system for your entire company, you need to think how you can change the behavior and the mindset of your workers, of your team members. And they need to think not only in the job that they are doing, they need to think on the strategy part, right? What is the final outcome? What is my client? What is looking for that? So that's the approach of this conversation, okay? So that is the introduction of my experience, just to be on the same page with you about what is the final goal, right? The final goal is try to foster and build this new mindset with our team members, so they can think not only in what they are doing in the actual job, in the daily job, but also they can think on what is the value that we want to deliver, right? What is the benefit for my customers? What is the strategy part of that? Okay, that's the idea. Okay, why OKRs? So yeah, basically that is the why, right? Why OKRs? But let's be coherent, right? Let's be coherent. Okay, some metrics that I'm going to present with you because I think those are important. I don't know if you know about it, but there is an OKR community report. Actually, it's an European group, and they did some surveys each year, right? This data is from 2017, but I think the data is quite interesting, right? They run this survey in Europe, in Latin America, in US. They interviewed more or less 60 enterprises, you know, in those 3 continents. For example, right? When those enterprises were enterprises that were using OKRs as part of the daily work. 98% of these enterprises says that they would recommend practicing OKR as part of the strategy of enterprise, right? They recommend use OKRs as a good tool, as a good ways to improve business. So I think that is a quite important number. And the second number is about the workers, right? The team members. When they ask about to the team members if OKRs was something new for them, was something extra, or it was something that was part of their daily work, 70% says yes, OKR right nowadays is part of my job, right? So we live with OKRs, we design our goals with OKRs, we define a strategy with OKRs as well. So I think those numbers are quite interesting because first you have that OKR is a well-known practice, and is also very, you know, people has a good vision about it. And also you have the team members that they say that already OKR is part of their job, you know, as part of usual job. So that is part of the metrics that I want to share with you. Well, there is something that maybe, of course, you know it, but nowadays those companies use OKR, right? Google, Facebook, Intel, Pear Street, LinkedIn, and Oracle. So those companies use OKR nowadays. And I think in my experience, Verizon also use OKRs and other companies. So I'm sharing with you this data because in my case, when I need to present, a business case for my customers, I need to present some data to sell my idea, right? For example, right, if I have a meeting with a CEO or a upper manager, we want to introduce OKRs to the company, and we want to, create a governance of OKRs. We need to present some ideas to sell the idea, right? That is the main approach of this. One example that I use in my business cases is the Per Street example, right? Per Street is a US company, a real estate investing company. And from February 2016 to early August in that year, he got $100 million of investment, which is a huge amount of money for a new company, because Per Street at that moment was a new company. The owner of Per Street is Brett Crosby. Brett Crosby is an ex-Googler, okay? And when people ask Brett about what is the magic thing, right? What is the magic thing? How the company can achieve this goal? He said, we've only been open to the public since the end of October 2015. That kind of growth requires intense focus across the entire company, and OKRs really help us to find it. Okay, so basically what Brett is telling us is that he took all the knowledge from OKRs in Google and he implemented an OKR governance in Per Street. And he said that it was quite important for that goal, for reach that goal, right? To make people focus on build a business and value. So they can work together, they can collaborate each other, they can have a common strategy, and they can reach this goal. Okay, that's the idea. And actually, by the way, Brett published an article, a paper about this experience. So if you can search the internet to look for that, you can read it. And I use that information to create these proposals for my clients. And that is something that you are going to see right now. Okay. That was the context, right, of all of this. So here we go with experience. Okay, the first one, right? As I said, something that is quite important, but the main topic of this conversation is OKR governance purpose, right? Again, the idea of creating OKR governance is because in this experience, we are talking about a large enterprise, right? Again, a large enterprise, a company which has business in Latin America, in Europe, in India, with more than 10,000 people, with more than 20 lines of businesses and so forth, a huge enterprise. So that is why the importance of creating this governance, right? Because at the end, you have a lot of people, a lot of teams, you have a lot of products, you have a lot of business around, and you need to organize this in terms of one specific goal or goals, right? So the idea of this OKR governance purpose is this: help organizations to adapt a value-oriented planning business outcome approach through OKRs, Agile, and outcome-centered enable initiatives, organized and promoted by government team. Okay, that's the idea. So this OKR governance team, because at the end it's going to be a team, is going to be in charge to design the strategy so the rest of the teams in the company can adapt OKRs as part of daily work, and also they are going to support Agile transformation as part of that, right? Because at the end, OKR is a good enabler for Agile transformation, right? Because OKR help you to keep focus on a specific goal and share this goal to the entire company, creating collaboration between teams. Okay, that's the idea of this OKR governance purpose. Okay, these OKR governance teams, as any team, that you know, has some specific objective, right, for enterprise. So the first goal is foster strategy alignment. As you know, OKR is about create a objective for the entire company, so the entire teams can focus on those goals and work for reach that goal, right? To create alignment between strategy and teams. So that was part of our first objective, right? Foster strategic alignment. Second was promote the adoption of a value-oriented planning mindset in the organization. We also have this goal, and you are going to see in some minutes how we did it. And basically the idea is here is that we need to promote this mindset to think about the value instead of the process or instead of schedules and so forth. You know, that's the idea of OKRs. You need to focus on what is the final outcome that you want to deliver, you want to achieve, instead of processes or something like that. You know, that's the approach. Also, again, another goal, robust the sense of belonging and collective ownership, right? The idea is that each team member in your company can feel that they are supporting the business, they are supporting the strategy using OKRs, and also they can be the owners of some specific objectives that the company has. So that creates belonging, that creates collective ownership, right, between teams. And finally, the other objective was make work contribution and constraints visible and recognize our teams. The idea is that after all this strategy, you have teams working together, so you can make them collaborate each other, contribute each other, and at the same time, you can define some constraints in your teams, right, in your initiatives. So that's the idea. So those were our goals for our government OKR team. Okay, those were our goals for our team in the enterprise. So if you're asking, yes, we defined OKRs inside our OKRs governance team. Yes, we did that. Actually, yes. As I said, OKR is quite useful for a team and it's quite useful for an enterprise because at the end, they look for the same. They look for having people thinking on one goal, focus on business, people collaborating each other to reach that goal, right? People who that can be the owner of something, right? The owner of a goal, and also if you are the owner, you're going to take care of that, and you're going to collaborate with the other people to try to reach the goal. That's the idea of OKR. You can use it at the enterprise level, and also you can use it at the team level. So in our case, our OKR governance team, we have OKRs inside, you know, like the movie Inception. That's the idea. Okay. For this strategy, for this OKR governance team, we define our strategy, right? Our mindset, our values and principles, you know, and they were this, right? First principle, first idea is we know that culture is strategy. So agile thing was quite important for us, you know. And second, our first approach was as part of our strategy, less is more. So we try to design this strategy using not complex things. We try to design it in a simple way, right? That was our approach. Okay, as part of the government, we defined those levels, you know, for OKRs. First one, you have the strategic OKRs, which are the OKRs that you design or you define with the C-levels, with the CEO and the vice presidents of the company and so forth. So you need to define this company strategy, right? That is at enterprise level, the strategic OKRs. The second level is the tactical OKRs, which basically are the OKRs that the team or the team of teams, by the way, when I say team of teams, I mean that something like trains in SAFE or something like trips in Spotify, right? Those are team of teams. So the tactical OKRs are the OKRs created by the team of teams and teams level, right? So those are the main levels that we define for this approach. No more than that, because if you have more levels, it's more complex, and that is not useful, right? We keep it simple. You have the vision, the strategic levels, and you have the operational and tactical levels. That's it. No more than that. That is my recommendation. That is my recommendation. If in your case you have some business cases where you have some kind of bureaucracy or some middle management, right? And you need to create more OKRs, try to change that in some way, because more levels is more complexity. Okay. Okay. And finally, the other level is personal OKRs. And here we have a warning message, right? A warning message. I recommend you to not use personal OKRs as part of your strategy for the enterprise. No. For the enterprise, you can only have strategic OKRs and tactical OKRs, right? OKR for your strategy, working with your upper managers, C-levels, and at enterprise level, and OKR for your team or team of team levels. That's it. Personal OKRs, you can use it, but it's part of career development, maybe, you know, it's a kind of coaching stuff, right? For example, right, if you are a leader, right, and you have some team members or one team member or whatever that needs to improve some speaking skills, some presentation skills, some coding skills or whatever, you can, as a coach, you know, as part of your Agile coaching work, you can present them OKRs, personal OKRs. You can recommend to use some OKRs, but it's just a recommendation, right? That is a warning message, okay? That I put here. That's the idea, okay? Okay, in our team, in our OKR governance team, we have those roles of those hats, basically, as any other team, right? The first role was the OKR champion. And this guy or this woman, whatever, is quite important, right? It's quite important. This role is the champion, right? It's a person that is going to be this bridge between the business, between the C-level and the tactical teams. This OKR champion is that bridge between C-levels, business, and upper managers, between them and between the operational team, right? The team and team of teams. So this OKR champion is a person that, besides it's going to support the OKR governance team, besides he's going to define with the team, right, the goals, he also be in charge to sell the idea to C-level managers. That is quite important, team, because if you don't have this kind of team member that knows how the upper manager think, you're going to maybe you're going to get some stoppers in your way, right? So that is my recommendation, that this OKR champion should be someone from business or should be someone from strategy teams, okay? That is my recommendation, but this is going to be the leader of this OKR governance, the OKR champion. The second one is the OKR coach. And basically, the OKR coach is the coach who knows about OKR framework or OKR practices, right? It can be an Agile coach, it can be a senior Scrum Master or Scrum Master with experience, it can be a business coach, or it can be a manager as well. A manager has experiences working with OKRs, with what is an OKR, what is a key result, and so forth. So it can be, as I said, an Agile coach, a Scrum Master, a manager with experience, with a strong experience in OKRs, right? Because this role is going to be in charge to design part of the OKR governance, and also to deploy this, right? Working with teams as part of training, coaching sessions. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, and finally, a team, right? In the same way of Scrum, right? You're going to have a team. And basically, in our experience, in our case, our team had people from tooling, right? From tooling end, people from data change management as well, people from databases, people from communications, from marketing teams, people from people or human resources areas, people from business strategy areas, and so forth. That was part of our team, right? Because remember, at the end, when you define this OKR governance, you need to think not only in the Agile part, also you need to think, okay, this is a kind of a strategy thing, right? So you need to deal with financial areas, you need to deal with operational areas, you need to deal with databases and also data management, because at the end, all that data that you're going to get, the OKR, the key results, and so forth, all the reports, the dashboards, is data, right? So you need to get some support from them, from some data teams, right? Okay, the other hats in these OKR governance teams was the OKR partner. This is these three roles were inside the OKR governance team, right? Those roles were inside the OKR governance team, but those roles are outside, those roles are in the team or team of teams, in the company. So for example, we have the OKR partner, right? Like a product owner, product manager, team lead, servant lead, value team facilitator, or another role, right? For example, right, if you are working with a Scrum team, the OKR partner can be the product owner. If you are working with SAFe, and if you have a train, the product manager can be a OKR partner, right? That's the idea, OKR partner. It's a kind of, it's a person who knows the business of the team or the team of teams that can be your partner in terms of, okay, we are going to work with OKRs to deliver value. And we need to be aligned about what is value, what are going to be the key results that we are going to design, we are going to define, and so forth. So that is the OKR partner. And the OKR facilitator, the same idea, is this facilitator or this person with experience about OKRs that are going to support the OKR implementation in team or team of team levels, right? That's the idea. So this person is going to be the extra hand of the OKR governance teams to be sure that the team of teams is applying OKRs, he's understanding what the OKRs is, and so forth, So as an example, it can be a Scrum Master, it can be a Kanban lead if you're using Kanban or a Kanban Master. It can be an Agile team facilitator if you don't have names for that role. it can be that name as well, but that's the idea. This is going to be your extra hand as part of your OKR ways of working adoption. Okay, great. So the OKR governance team, as I said, this team with those roles, with those objectives, this team gives training, of course, share knowledge, and works with the OKR facilitators and partners to get support while building outcome-based planning for the team, right? Again, remember that, at least in my experience, we was a large enterprise. So we have a kind of centralized OKRs governance team, and we create trainings, we create guidelines, we create some ways of working so that the rest of the team can apply. But of course, we imagine to deal with, I don't know, more than 1,000 people, it's a huge team, right? So you need to create these OKR partners to support the delivery of the strategy and also the implementation of OKR governance in different teams and teams. That's the idea of this approach, right? So that was part of our responsibilities, part of the OKR governance team. Okay, those are the events, right? As any other government, we defined some specific events for this governance. Basically, this is the events that we defined, right? So at the beginning of a quarter, and this is a kind of quarter cycle. So at the beginning, we have this OKR alignment session, right? This happens at the start of a quarter. The OKR alignment is a meeting when you have your team and team of teams. You present your OKR strategic your OKR strategic goals, and in this session, which is a session, right? It can take maybe, depending of the maturity of your teams, it can take 4 hours, or it can take maybe 3 hours, or maybe 1 day, depending of your maturity. The OKR alignment is the alignment between, this is the strategy, those are the OKRs for the enterprise level, and you need to make your team and team of teams create their tactical OKRs aligned to these OKRs at the strategic level. That is the OKR alignment. So basically, first goal, alignment, right? People know the OKRs at a strategic level, they know about it, they know what is expecting, they know what the company is looking for, they can support it, they can ask questions, they can understand the business, right? That is alignment. And then with that information, they have to create their own OKRs, right? For the team of teams or teams level, the tactical level. Okay, that's the idea of OKR alignment, this session. This is at the beginning of the quarter, okay? Then At the middle of a quarter, at the middle, we have the OKR sync. And the OKR sync is a kind of session where the team can think about what is happening with OKRs, right? What is the health of our OKRs? What is the health of our key results? So we are doing well with our key results. We are doing, or we are playing like that we were expecting, or there are some problems. We have some bottlenecks, we have some issues, we have some risk about it. So this is the OKR thing, right? Of course, for this approach, you need to have some kind of dashboards. You need to manage your data about your OKRs. In some minutes, we are going to see some examples of that. But that is the idea, right? In the OKR sync, which is a session that happens in the middle of a quarter, you have your teams and team of teams checking what is the health of your OKRs, what is the status, what is the decision that they need to take, and so forth. Okay, that is the OKR sync. And finally, at the end, as a kind of closing event, we have the OKR retrospective. And basically, the OKR retrospective has two objectives, right? The first one is close, right? We can check our OKRs, we can close them, we can discuss about the results, we can check what happened, but it's a kind of closing activity. And also you have the retrospective, which is, okay, what the good things that we did during the cycle about OKRs, collaboration, good risk management, and so forth. That's the idea, right? A kind of retrospective about the OKR cycle. You know, that's the idea. At the end, you're going to have a list of improvements for your strategy, a list of improvements for your roles, and so forth. So this is the simple model that we defined it, and actually it worked very well, because if you create more events, that you can do it, of course you can do it, people is going to say, more events, I don't like too much events, you know, because I already have meetings, you know, I have my retrospective, I have my daily meeting, I have my planning, my and so forth, right? So the idea is, okay, we are not going to add more events, we are going to add only those 3 events which we considered were key for the OKR governance. That's it, right? And all these events were supported and were supported by OKR Governance Team, right? Us. That's the idea. Okay, those were the events that we created for this OKR governance. Okay, as part of the strategic alignment, this is an example of a spreadsheet that you can use. For example, in this spreadsheet, you can see that on my left hand, you can see that list of trains or center of excellence, right? Integration train, mobile products train, DevOps center of excellence, testing center of excellence, and so forth, right? So inside those trains or inside those trips, you are going to have teams, right? So you can teams in this column, in the squads part. And in this blue part, in this blue section, you are going to have the strategic goals, right? So more or less in a company per year, you can have maybe 6, maybe 8 or less strategic goals, right? So the idea of this is each team needs to define how they are contributed with a specific goal, right? For example, we have some levels, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. If you have 0, that means that you are not supporting the goal. That's it. It's okay. If you have 1, you are supporting the goal, but only a little bit. If you have 2, you're supporting the goal, but in a good way. If you have 3, your team is going to provoke a big impact in the goal. Okay, that's the idea of those levels. So you can see here each team and also each team of teams define a kind of level in terms of supporting or not the strategic goal for the company. This indicator, this dashboard was quite important, because at the end we can say something like, okay, we have this OKR for the company, number 1, number 2, whatever, and we have this list of teams that are going to move, you know, are going to help us to get this goal. So we can create some cross initiative, we can create some specific sync meetings with those teams, and try to help them during the way to reach the goal. So that's the idea of this dashboard. Okay, this is an example of a kind of how the team manage at the beginning, at least, you know, with Excels, how they manage OKRs, right? How they write the OKRs and how they put the key results and so forth, right? That is a kind of example of that. You can see a lot of examples in internet, but this is an example, right? You have the goal, you have the parent goal, you have the team goal, the squad goal, you have the key results, the unit of those key results, and you have the expectation, right? For the annual and also for the quarter. That's the idea. This is an example of a dashboard. I think the first dashboard that we did. In this dashboard, as you can see here, you can see the different teams and different team members regarding some specific time frame, some specific time frame that you can say, okay, I want to see the OKR from Q1 2020 or Q2 2020. You can use this drop down. And depending on the results of that, you can see, okay, what is my health, right? What is the status of those OKRs? So this is a kind of dashboard that is going to support you for your OKR retrospective. It's going to support you in your OKR syncs, and also along the way, right? It's going to support your team to get the information in real time, right? At the beginning, we create this report using basically Excels, but then we move to another tools, right? To web application tools. So for example, here you can see an example of this OKR dashboard report, but with web tools, right? In a more fashion way, I think. So you can see here the OKRs, you can see here the key results, and in this part, you can see here what is the health of those key results, right? Of those goals. So you have the green part, which are, okay, I'm doing great with my OKRs. I have this yellow part, this red part. So there is a kind of a system that provides you the information about what is the health of your OKRs, right? This is another example that you can use as well. Okay, about the cycle, as I said, we create this SAL cycle, which is basically, okay, at the beginning, we set the OKRs. We need to work with C-levels. We need to work with a team of teams to set the OKRs, what are going to be the OKRs for the year and also for the quarter, And then we need to align, we need to align this OKR for the entire company, for the entire team of teams, aligned to the strategy. This is the alignment part. And then we have the chief part, which is basically all the work that we do in the quarter with our initiative, working together, collaborating each other to reach the goals, to move our key results. And then we have the retrospective or the continuous learning part, which is this learn part, right? I strongly recommend you to have OKR retrospective because that is a good approach to improve your cycles each time, right? Just an example, at the beginning, when we defined this OKR governance, we set, unfortunately, we set a lot of events, more than 3. I think we set 6 events as part of OKR governance. And also we defined more roles. But fortunately, after retrospective, we get feedback from the teams and they say, Jorge, we don't like too much events. Is there a way that we can reduce events so we can make it simple for us? And we did it, as you can see. And also the roles, right? We had some roles, but we had some extra roles. But after the retrospective, people say, we can reduce the roles because it's complicated for us. I think the OKR champion is okay, the OKR coach is okay, and the team is okay. But I think if you add more roles, you can complicate a system. And that is not the idea at all, okay? So try to keep it simple. Important part, because in all the presentations, people ask the same. Jorge, what about the tooling part? What do you recommend? What tool do you recommend? Okay. Our advice is keep your governance strategy, be tooling agnostic. Okay. That tools you have in the market, right? But the most important part is your strategy, your roles, your events, the purpose of your events, the cadency, your cycles. That's the idea of a governance, right? Because at the end, the team and team of teams that are going to be part of your governance, they need to understand the why you are doing this. They need to understand the process, the tooling part can be at the end, right? As I said, we started with spreadsheets, but then we moved to another tools, right? Okay, but people ask us out, so I can recommend you some tools that you can use. Spreadsheet, I recommend you to start. Better Words, Upraise, Lipsum, and GTM Hub. Those are nice tools. In our case, we use Upraise. We use Upraise with Jira. It's quite nice, you know. You can use Upraise with Jira. For example, you can manage types of OKRs, type of key results. You can manage OKRs. You can manage relation between OKRs. You can manage the tree of OKRs, OKRs at strategic level, OKRs at operational level. You can manage with this tool as well, OKRs weights. You can integrate OKRs and initiatives with Jira issues. The plugin is quite nice. You can use it if you like. For us, it was quite useful because we have more than 600 teams working, so it was very useful to automate those kind of data. Okay, finally, 3 points to think about before selecting OKR tool. Always begin with table sheets. My recommendation: start with the easy part. Start with Excel. Okay, please avoid to focus on the tool, right? The tool is important, but it's not more important. Be sure that you define the strategy, be sure that you define the why, talk with your people, try to understand your governance, your processes, your meetings, and the purpose of them. So that is the most important part, right? Common ways to use OKR: a lot, you know, set too many OKRs, cascade goals instead of collaborate each other, use them to express a plan, output OKR. That is not the idea. The idea is OKR is about outcome, but about business value, not about another thing. Use them for performance evaluation. No, that is not the recommendation. Treat them as new year's solution. No, OKR needs to be something that can be achievable, right? That's the idea. Finally, you can, if you like, you can use OKRs with gamification. In some of my clients, we create this game, which is the Poke-Goal game, which is a game to enforce business outcome mindset planning using a game for OKRs similar to Pokemon Go. Okay, so this is a game that you can use, so people can say, hey, instead of having a Pokemon, I have my OKR. You know, I'm going to grow my OKR in the same way that you evolve your Pokemon, you can evolve your OKR, right? So that's the idea of this game. This game has also tournaments or quarters, you know. In each tournament, in each quarter, we have some games, some rules, so people can get points, and that's what's the idea of this Pokemon Go. To sum up the team, finally, it's true that OKR is hard, but establishing a governance team will help you to spread the word. It helps you a lot. Build new ways of working and be consistent over the time, and more important, make sure you are measuring the flow of value, the value. That's the important part. So books that I recommend you, this book is quite awesome. I recommend you this book. This book is as well is quite important. I recommend you. Also this book, well, I think the book is quite interesting. Work rules as well. And that's it. Okay, guys, please remember that we all have dreams. So please help and share more. Remember that. So please help and share more. And thank you very much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jorge. We had a couple of questions posted in chat. One of them is, do you have any examples for specific OKR example, you know, for the OKR examples for each of the levels, strategic, tactical, personal?
Yeah. So for example, right, on a strategic level can be improve our sales, you know. For example, in my case, I was working for a telecommunication company. So we want to improve our selling, right, in 20% for the year. That can be the strategic, that can be the goal at strategic level, right? We want to improve the selling in 20% in this year, okay? That was a strategic level, right? So for example, in the team level, you can say, okay, if my line of business is mobile, right? what is my mobile? Maybe in my case is I am in charge of an app. You know, my channel is the app, the application, or my channel is a web application, whatever. So you can say, okay, how I can support this, improve the selling of my products, right? So I can create some OKRs, for example, right? I want to improve the number of the sales through by through by the app, you know. So I want to improve in 20% the number of sales through the app. That can be an OKR for that level, right? Or if I manage the web application, I can improve the number of sales through my channel, which is the web application. And the key results can be the same, right? Basically, the key results can be the amount of money, right? I want to move from 10,000 million to 20 million, for example, right? The same case for the app and the web. I want to increase my sales from 10,000 to 3,000 this quarter. So that is an example.
Okay, it might be kind of related, but it was also had a question of where you give a few examples of top or key OKRs you'd bring to a cycle.
Can you repeat the question, Elan?
Will you give a few examples of top or key OKRs you'd bring to a cycle?
Okay, in our experience, one OKR was the time to market. You know, the strategic OKR was time to market, right? So, for example, in our case, the entire company was to improve the software delivery cycle. You know, the lead time of the company, time to market. So the strategic goal was, okay, we want to improve our time to market in 30%. So we want to be 30% faster in terms of time to market. That was the strategic goal, right? So the entire teams, you know, the teams that manage software and so forth, they need to align to that goal. You know, that's part of the cycle. So each team at the beginning in the OKR sync, we defined, okay, in my team, in average, we can improve in 10% of our lead time. Other teams say, I can improve in 30%. I can improve in 30%. Or another team says, okay, I can improve my lead time in 50%. So this is an example of a kind of key goal for our company that we include in a cycle as well, right? The lead time, for example, time to market.
Okay. And there was one last question. Will you expand on the bullet cascade goals instead of meaning?
This is for a slide, right? For one slide?
Yeah, it was toward the end. It was definitely toward the end.
Okay. This one? Or... Sorry, I didn't get the question, please.
Number 6. Could you expand on that number 6 on there? Cascade goals instead of meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. An anti-pattern, you know, that happens time to time is when you define OKRs at the strategic level. Sometimes it's only a responsibility for the managers or C-level, right? So C-levels, you know, working a box, you know, working a kind of box, and they create the strategy by themselves. They create the OKRs, the enterprise OKR by themselves, and then basically they send this OKR by email. You know, those are the OKRs that we have. So please work with them. That is an abuse of that, right? Because OKR is not cascade thing. The idea of OKR is collaboration. So meanwhile, you have the team working together, you have the feedback from your teams about, okay, this is the business goal for the company, and those are the first ideas that we have. Please, let's work together to define the best OKR for our company, you know? So that's the idea. It's not cascade them, it's basically collaboration, you know, to define it. That's the idea.
Okay. I want to go back to the previous question. They said they're more interested in what to bring to a cycle, not necessarily how to improve the cycle. So what would you bring to start the OKR cycle?
Okay. First one, the input is the OKR at strategic level. Okay. So for that, for the OKR sync, which is the starting of the cycle, you need to have the OKR at strategic level, because you're going to align the people, the teams to those OKRs. So of course, previous that meeting, previous the OKR sync, you need to do some pre-work, right? And basically the pre-work is you need to talk with C-levels, you need to talk with managers and so forth, and also teams, to try to define those strategic levels for the company, So when you have that is an input for the OKR sync, that's the first input. And also, as part of that, the teams need to do some pre-work, right? They need to prepare some draft OKRs, So in that event, at the beginning, they can discuss about it. They can have the initiative that they want to run in the quarter. So they can have some idea of the dependencies, right? And the collaboration that is needed. So yeah, I would say that first, the OKR strategy, strategy level, that was one. Second was the draft of OKRs per team of teams. And third one would be the draft of initiative, right? Each initiative that you want to run in the cycle. I think that would be the inputs for the first, for the beginning of the cycle.
Okay, great. I have one more on the slide you're showing here on number 2, use them for performance evaluation. So what would you do instead?
Instead of that, well, I think we have, in my company at least, we have the normal performance evaluation, right? We have, okay, this is our goals and so forth. I don't recommend you to use OKRs as part of the formal performance evaluation, because, if you do that, maybe people can say, okay, I'm going to, maybe sometimes I'm going to do that job, but it's not going to be the job that we are looking for. Maybe it's something that is not going to be it's not going to have the quality that we're expecting. It's just a number, right? And that's a problem, right? Remember that OKRs has numbers, which are the KRs, right? The key results. And if you put those OKRs as part of the performance evaluations, maybe your key results are going to be some kind of tricky, right? Because at the end, you want to have the best key results because of your performance evaluation. So that is not my recommendation. Instead of using OKRs, you can use the traditional way, right? You can use goals, right? And some kind of agreement between you and your leader. But I don't recommend you to use OKRs because remember that OKRs for a team. OKRs is not for a team member. It's for a team or team of teams. So you need to work together, right? If you in your company, you instead of manage performance evaluation for team members, and you have a kind of team performance evaluation, you can use OKRs because at the end it's for teams. But if you have personal evaluation for individuals, I don't recommend you to use OKRs because OKRs is for teams.
Okay, I think we're right at time.
Great.
So I'll get the deck from you. I'll put your information as well on the meetup in the comments, so others can reach out to you and connect to you if they have other questions. We'll get this recording up on the YouTube. I'll post that also on the meetup so others can in the comments so you can find it. Anything last minute thing you want to highlight, things you got going on, where to find more?
No. Thank you very much to everybody for the invitation. Really happy to be here, and please add me to LinkedIn. It would be awesome to talk with you and help you in whatever you want.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks again for joining and presenting this.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Right,
bye.
Bye.
Keep safe. You too.